Hi, in this video, I will add month, year, and worker filter to our activity form. Let's look at our project. First, I need to create a menu item for our activity form. Let's create a new menu item. I will create two menu items and I will show you the usage of different menu item to same form. This one is a single, this will open only one user. So it's okay to use this one. Now let's look at properties. Okay. Also, I want to send a parameter with this menu item. For this, you can use enum parameters, enum type parameters, or uh, directly parameters. I don't want to create enum for this one. Let's write directly. This one is only one worker, so I write worker, and let's save this one. Also, I will create another one from similar to this one. Let's create another menu item. This will be all. Okay. Parameters. Oh, of course, let's this and okay. Let's add this to our menu. Okay. So when I open our activity table form with this menu item, I want to show all records. But if I open with this one, I want to see only my activities. So let's do that. In activity form design, I want to add three different filter. Uh, I will add a month, year, and worker filter to this one. I can use quick filter or I can create a new group and add the at top of uh, this one. It's all optional, but let's create uh, here and we can change the location afterward. For month is enum, so I need a object related to enum. For enum, we use combo box. Let's create a combo box and properties. We have a enum type here of here. Sorry, I couldn't find. Yes, this one. Let's change the same with the enum. Okay. Now, second one is year. We can create a new integer for this one. And here, let's look at here. Okay. The third one is worker. For worker, we need to add a reference field because worker is rec ID, but we don't want to see rec ID. We want to see reference. Because of that, we need to add reference group here and extend data type. Okay. Yes, this one. My session ended. As you can see, it edit automatically here. Now also I need to select auto declaration yes, and I want them to in a group. Let's create a new group here and drag and drop this one in a group, and let's change like this, and let's select column size 3. Group, sorry. Okay. Now we created 3 filter, but we didn't write any code right now. First, let's look at our form design, and after that we will create some codes for filtering. Let's start our project. Okay, now our form is opened and I can see here the field. Of course, we forget to move up. Let's look at our menus. Okay, all activities and my activities are here. Okay, let's write some code and correct the design of this form a little bit. Let's finish this one. First of all, it's from here. Okay, maybe we can put from here too. It's better. Now, I need to filter record by menu item. Uh, for that, I need to write a filter code. Also, I need to make sure which menu item used for opening this form. So let's look these options. First of all, I need to override init method of this form. After super, let's write some code. First of all, month of year and selection. If I open this form, I want to select the month which we are in. For that, we can use meta of year today, for example. Okay, and let's make some same with year. Now it's a default value of our uh, filters. And we don't have month and year field in our activity table. We have a date. So we need to create, if you want to filter a month record, we need to create a start date and end date for this filter. So let's declare a global start date. Start date and date variable and point them a correct date. For start date, we can use make date function and one beginning of the month, and we can use this one. Also, we can use this one. For end date, I will just write 31. If it's not long 31, it's not problem. It will assign the last day of month, so it will work perfectly. And now we have start date and end date global variable here. Lastly, we need to understand which MenuItem used for opening our form. For that, we can use element and argument class. Argument class is a very important class. It is it's an object carrying by one object to another. So we have lots of different methods here. For our parameters, we use par. If I use like this, and if I, for example, worker, we use worker because I can now put this like this. So if I open this form with worker, I want to create a worker range, worker filter. So let's use HTML worker rec ID and maybe value. Okay. For this, we don't we have lots of different functions here. We have current user here, and we can use HM worker user ID to worker function here, and we have and if a employee opened this form with this, I don't want them to change this filter, so I will close this like this. Okay. Now we created our values, but we didn't filter any record yet. For that, let's create a method in our form, and let's call it range. And I'll call this from here. Okay. Now uh, let's add some code to add range. We will use our data source for this one. Fd activity base query data source table. I always use data source table for this kind of situation. Table now. Activity table. And first of all, always clear the range. First, I will clear the range. Field name, table, and this was activity date. Yes. Let's close this one. Edit. And this one is employee. I'm not sure with the name of the field, so let's look at our table. Yes, it was employee. Now, first we cleared the range. If we didn't clear the range, every adding new range will filter the record, and result will not work as we wanted. Now we can add our filter. First filter, activity date filter. Let's copy this one, and this time add range. Yes, and value. For this, we have start date and end date value. For queries, you can use CSS query, and this one has a range. It's a very good and easy to use. It will automatically add start date and end date range to activity date field. Now, secondly, we need to use employee range. For this, let's first control the value of user. Um, let's write something like this. course, let's change this. And now we can assign, of course, the value. Okay. This is the reference field, and maybe it will not work with value field, but I want to show you what how it can be done. So let's try it like this, and if it's not work, let's change the other value field. Now our filter is ready, but we need to refresh, and because of that we will use execute query. Now it's almost ready. Let's run and try. Starting my project here. Okay, activity opened. As you can see, it's not a good looking form. We need one line here. We will change this one too. Our September and 2012 is coming, but worker is not. So there is a problem, and I will look into this also. Let's look at our menus. When I open this one, okay, and when I open my activities, okay, now I find a worker which is a point to me. It's a correct worker, but I think there is a okay. Now my activity is actually working. There is no problem. I confused with first run, and employee is here. I will create more records and show you how it's work. But first, the next video, let's create a copy for this form and create more records with it. So there is one missing point. After we change this field, we need to calculate our new start and end date, and we need to call our atrange method. Let's do that. We forget to do that. Let's do this filters, and I'm closing this one. Go back to my form. Form, and let's overwrite the modified method. With this modified methods, we need to create uh, a start date and end date. Also, we need to call our atrange method. And after super, let's copy and paste from here. Let's write like this. If month selection, then start date with this selection. Else, if there is no selection, maybe we can appoint first month. Okay, and date pretty much the same. Yes, and date we can write in this one too, like this. This better way to do. For worker, we don't need to do anything from here because it's a start date, and we need to call at range. Okay. Now let's look at here. I'm overriding modified again, and let's copy our code. Okay, not selection. This one is value. Okay. Actually, for this, we don't need to write like this. Mm, okay, I don't want to write like this. Let's write like, yeah, it's enough for here. And let's write the same code for worker. Okay. Now let's look at um, our design. For this, I don't want to use filter here, and maybe can up like this. Okay. Now let's start our project and look if it's work. Okay. Now it's let's open from menu my activities. I have I think I don't have records here. Let's edit this one and create a new record. Okay. Now let's look all activities. Okay. Now when I clicked all activities, I see September 2012, but empty worker. But when I clicked my activities, okay, now it's working. So let's click all activities and filter, for example, Julian. Now it's filtering. Now, as you can see, it's working. Uh, let's change, for example, month. And when I change month, it creates an empty record. Now it's okay. It's not, there's no record. When I put September, of course, I need to delete first. When I click September, sorry, August. Okay, now it's our filters are working fine. Maybe we need to change auto creation property. Let's look at our data source. In data source, we have a property insert if empty. Okay. Now, if there is there isn't any record, it automatically creates a new record. But I don't like how it's work in this form, so I close this one. So let's summarize. I created three range, and I created two menu items, and we created an init method, and in this init method we figured out which menu item is opened our form. Also, we write at range method. This at range method, first we clear two ranges. After that, we add this our month, year, and worker range. With this code, we be able to open our form two different menu items and with filter. Okay, this video is longer than I expected, so I will continue to write more codes for our activity table form. I hope it is helping. Happy Ducks!